Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be making this beautiful Milkmaid gown. If this is something that interests you, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So this is the fabric that we are going to be using for this tutorial, but first and foremost we are going to draft out the pattern. So this line right here is the starting point for this pattern, for the fabric, the pattern we are going to be drafting. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and measure out my vertical body measurement, but we are going to be cutting this outfit as if we are cutting an off shoulder, so we are going to be throwing off some inches of our measurement. So I'm going to be throwing off 6 inches of my measurements. Then I will just go ahead and mark my chest point, I will mark my bust point, my under bust and my waistline. So when I mark that, I'm going to go ahead and make a straight line all through these measurements. So after marking, I'm just going to label each of these line. The first line, the shoulder line; second line, chest line; third line, bust points; the next line, under bust; and the last line, which is going to be our waistline. So on the bust points, I'm going to go ahead and measure my nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2, and this, in this case, it is 4¼ of an inch. So I'm just going to like make a straight line to connect it on the bust point, on the under bust and on the waistline. So once I do that, I'm going to go out on both sides of that nipple to nipple distance at the waistline, so to form my dart leg. So I'll connect them to the bust point like so. So once I connect it, I'll go to the shoulder line to measure my shoulder measurements divided by 2. My shoulder measurement is 16 inches divided by 2, that's going to give me 8 inches. So after marking that 8 inches, I'll go to my chest line to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10.75, and I'm going to use my armhole curve to curve to connect the shoulder measurements to the bust circumference measurements this way. So this so after doing that, I will go to my under bust. So at my under bust, on my under bust line, I'm going to go up by 1 inch, which I'm using this green marker to denote it. So I'm going to go up by 1 inch on my under bust. So when I go up by 1 inch, I'm going to connect it to the dart line using my curve rule. So see the way I'm connecting it now. So I'm going to connect it like that. So on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 on the bust point. Then I'm going to connect it together to as if we are drafting corsets. So I'm going to connect it till I get to my chest line like so. So once I connect them, I'm going to use this green marker to denote the points that I'm going to be cutting off. So yeah, I'm going to add my allowances, seam allowances, to the measurements that I've made. So on the chest line, I had 1½ inch seam allowance. Then on my waistline, I went ahead to measure my waist circumference divided by 4. Then I added 1½ allowance. Then the 1 inch we are cutting off for that, I added it as well. So I'm just going to go ahead now to connect those 2 points together. So once I connect those 2 points together, I'll go to my neck line. So I don't want to maintain this straight line, I just want to curve my line a little bit to go down. So I'm curving my line to go and meet my chest line. So if you want to maintain the shoulder line, there's no problem, but I'm curving mine to meet the chest line. So that is how my neckline for the front panel will be. So after this, I will go ahead and cut out this pattern. So as you can see, I didn't cut off the neckline yet, and that's because I'm going to use this pattern to cut my back panel. So I've brought in another paper for my back panel. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the zipper allowance, which is 1½ inch. Then I'm going to pin this pattern paper on it, the front panel on it. Then I will trace out the measurement of the front panel like so. So I've traced out the dart line as well. So I'm going to now cut this back panel. Now this is the easiest way to cut your back panel. So once I cut my back panel, I will now go ahead and cut separate the cup parts of the front panel and the neckline. So this is what we have for the front panel, this is for the back panel. So I'm just going to label this cup, and the next thing is to go ahead and open up our cup. So to get the bustier effect, I'm going to like do the slash and spread method. So to do this slash and spread method, I'm going to like measure like 1.5 inch to the end of the cup, like so. Then I'm going to separate it. So once I separate it, I'll go ahead to label each pattern. So this is what we have. So I'll now go ahead and bring a fresh pattern paper. So this fresh pattern paper is what we are going to be using to cut the cup in full. So I'm going to be pinning down each of this pattern that I slashed the other time, each of this cup pattern. So I'm going to be pinning it to each of these fabric. I'm going to be pinning it to this pattern paper rather. Then I'm going to be measuring like 1.5 inches distance. So mine is 1.5 inches distance. If you want yours to be like 2 inches or 1 inch distance, you can go ahead and do that. It depends on how full you want yours to be. And while pinning it down, make sure you are aligning it. So what is making me know that I'm aligning it is because of this red points on each of this pattern. So once you align it, you pin it down, then you are going to go ahead and trace out the pattern like so. So after tracing it out, then you will go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting it out, you remove the slashed pattern papers, and that will give us our new cup pattern. So this is what we'll be cutting on our fabric. So guys, we'll go ahead to cut all this pattern on our fabric now. So guys, after cutting it out on our fabric, this is what we have. So this is the cup parts. I'm just trying to like draw some arrow to point the down to denote the down part. And as you can see, I added 1/2 inch around this cup part, which I are going to use to join it together to the main bodice. Then this as well, this is the front. I added 1/2 inch as well to the cup part and to the down part. So this is the back panel as well. I added 1/2 inch to the down part and to the upper part. Then I've gone ahead to cut out the skirt part of this gown. Remember, we are making a Milkmaid dress. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and start our stitching. So first thing first, we are going to go ahead. Before then, as you can see, I cut all this pattern on fold. So for this cup, we have 2 pieces of fabric for the cup. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to go ahead and fold in the center point of each of these pieces of cup. So I'm going to fold the center piece to make it neat. So once I fold the center piece, I will also run gather stitch at the upper part of this cup and the lower parts of the cup. So I'll go ahead and do all that. So guys, after doing all that, this is what we have. So as you can see, I folded in the center parts and I've run a loose stitch at the upper part and the lower part of our cup for the 2 pieces of the cup. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start pulling before then, as you can see, I've taken in the darts for the front panel as well. So the next thing is to start pulling the gather stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling it now. But guys, when you are pulling yours, make sure that you are carefully pulling it so you will not cut the thread, because if you cut the thread, you have to run the stitch again before you start pulling again. So you have to be careful while pulling this thread. So I'm going to pull the thread now. So after pulling the thread, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and pull for the second one. So this is the second one as well. I've pulled for the 2 pieces of cup. So I will lay my front panel on the table like this, and I'm going to pick one part of the cup and make sure that the right side of the cup is facing the right side of the front panel. Then I will also ensure that the folded part is what is at the center point. So I'm going to go in down the center of this piece till I get to the armhole part of this. So as I'm pinning it, I'll be spreading it, pinning it, spreading it till I get to the end of this part. So once I get to the end, I'm going to go ahead and pin the second one as well. So guys, after pinning the second one as well, this is what I have. So the next thing I'll do is to pick my lining, because I want the inside to be neat. So I'll place the center of the lining on the center of the fabric. So this means that the two cups will be sandwiched in between the lining and the main piece of fabric. So I'll pin it down, then I'll go ahead, take it to my machine now, and I'll go ahead to like stitch it down. I'll stitch it down from the center to one side. Then once I stitch that down, I'll go to the other side and stitch it down from the center to the other side as well. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Then at the upper part of this cup, I'm going to like attach a rope to it, which we are going to be tying at the front, because if you see the picture on the thumbnail, you know that there is a rope at the front. So how to know this width of your measurements for the upper parts? I'm going to divide my shoulder measurements divided by 2. My shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2, that's 8, and I'm going to deduct 1 from it, that gives me 7. So I'm going to make sure that the upper part is the gathered I gathered the gathers to make it 7. So once I do that, I've already cut this tiny rope of 1.5 inch width and 20 inches long. So I will just place it on it, sew it down. Then once I sew it down, I will flip it to the other side and knitting the inside. Then once I sew this rope till the end of this cup, I will go ahead now and fold in the thread, the little rope in on both sides. Then I'll fold it, close it up like so. So I'll go ahead now and do all these things that I mentioned. So guys, after doing all that, this is what we have. So see how beautiful it's looking now. So I'm going to turn it to the wrong side. See how neat the wrong side is. So I've gone ahead also to work on my back panel. I've taken in the darts, darts for the 2 pieces. I've taken in the zipper allowance. So the next thing we are going to do now is to work on our sleeve. So for our sleeves, I've gone ahead to cut some piece of fabric. The width of this fabric is 36 inches in 2 places, then the length is about 12 inches. So I'm going to like fold in about 1.5 inch at the top, which I'm going to use for my elastic casing, and I'll fold it in at the down part as well. Then I'll take my one of my main bodies and I'll place the armhole on the sleeve like so. Then I'm going to cut the armhole out on the upper part. Then on the lower part, I'm going to multiply my round sleeve by 2 and just cut it out. So the next thing I'll do is to sew down this elastic casing. So guys, after sewing down the elastic casing, this is what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the elastic that I'm going to use. So remember when we were cutting this pattern, we threw off like 6 inches from the shoulder. So 6 inches in 2 places, that's 12 inches, but I'm going to be cutting out 10 inches for each of these sides, for each of the sleeve. Then for the down part, I'm going to measure my round sleeve and I'm going to deduct like 1 inches from it to cut out the elastic. So I'm already inserting the elastic into the elastic casing. So this is what we have after inserting the elastic into the elastic casing. We have successfully created our sleeves. So I will place my front panel on the table, right side facing up. Then I will place one of my the armhole of one of my sleeve on the front panel like so, and I'm going to pin it down to it. I'll make sure that I'm facing it, like the right sides are facing each other. Then I'll bring my back panel as well, making sure the right side of the back panel facing the right side of the front panel, and I'm going to pin the other side of the armhole to the armhole of the back panel like so. So once I pin it down, I'll take it to my machine and stitch it down with 1/2 inch. So I'll do the same for the other sleeve. So guys, after attaching the sleeves, this is what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do is to align the fabric, the bodice properly. So I'm aligning it, I'll pin it down because it's time for us to shape our fabric. So when we want to shape the fabric, we are going to like measure it out, taking our measurements and just know where the measurement is. So I'm going to like shape it like so, because I've already denoted the measurements on the fabric. So I'll shape it on both sides. So after shaping the fabric, this is what we have, guys. See, our Milkmaid has already taken shape. It's looking so beautiful already. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cross-check our measurements. So I'm trying to cross-check. So if you cross-check yours and it's smaller or bigger, you will have to like restitch again. So I've cross-checked and they are perfect. That's the essence of like measuring, taking your measurements when you want to shape your clothes. So after doing that, we are going to go ahead and attach the skirt part of this dress to it. So this is a 360-degree flare. So I have a video on this channel on how to cut a 360-degree flare. So if you're interested in that, the link is in the description box. So I'm pinning down this flare to the down part, and I'll take it to my machine and just stitch it round like so. So guys, this is what we have after like attaching the skirt part to the upper part. So the next thing is I'll do now is to attach my zipper, and I'm going to fold in the hem. I'm going to hem the gown, and we are done with our fabric. So guys, this is the final look of our outfit. So thank you so much guys for watching this tutorial. Please do well to like this video and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more interesting sewing content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.